Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to show you how I made this Bedrock Babe Fashion Nova inspired Halloween costume. So if you want to learn how to make it, then just keep on watching. We're going to start off by making our pattern. So I'm taking these tracing sheet papers from Joann's and I'm taping them together 3x3, so 9 in total as you can see here. And now we're going to start making our skirt. So you want to draw a line straight down that's 15 inches because that's about the length of a mini skirt. So now at the top, you're going to draw a line that is the measurement of your waist divided by 4. And then you want to go down about 7 inches here and mark that for the waist or the hip measurement. So you want to take your hip measurement and divide by 4 and then draw the line as you can see here. So now I'm going down another 7 inches and I'm going to draw a straight line again. That's the same as the hip line. And then after that, it's pretty simple. You just draw straight down to connect the line. And you want to make sure it's very straight and even, you guys. You don't want this pattern to be crooked. And then you want to sketch from the waist to the hip. You just want to sketch that curve. And don't worry if it's not perfect because we are making this a tie skirt, kind of like a sarong. So it'll be fine. So now I'm just marking the seam allowance on the bottom, and as you can see, I labeled everything here so you guys can have a more clear understanding, hopefully. And then the waistband, as you can see, I just measured 2 5/8 and then 1/4 seam allowance. And that is for the waistband that we're gonna do. So this is the skirt pattern all together. So now you want to take that and flip it in half. This is gonna make your guys' life so much easier if you suck at making things even. You're just gonna cut that out with some scissors, as you can see, and when you open it up, it'll be a perfect pattern. And once you finish cutting, make sure you guys copy the line marks from the left side onto the right side as well. Now we're gonna make the top, so just get a tank top and you wanna mark where your under boob stops, and then as you can see, I pinned where I want the length of the shirt to be. So now I cut it in half and I'm just folding over one side to make it an off the shoulder look, and you wanna trace all around the tank top. Once I have my rough draft, I'm just taking my Sharpie and marking the lines where I want to cut. And I kind of messed up right here because I'm going to take more fabric off that shoulder that doesn't have the strap because you won't need all that. So I'm marking a straight line. As you can see here, that's where I'm going to make the start of the strapless side start. And then I'm just marking where the under boob starts. That way you don't cut up too high and then you have your boobs coming out. So yes, I'm measuring it to make sure it's even on both sides. And now I'm just freehand drawing the triangle shapes, and I'm gonna extend it longer on the side without a strap so it has that diagonal look to it. As you can see here, I sketched out all the seam allowances that you'll need, and you can see I cropped it on the shoulder that has no strap. So now I'm gonna cut out the whole pattern. If that was too fast for you guys are more than welcome to pause the video so you can see better. But yeah, now I'm just cutting out the top. So on this edge, I just added a little more room, and then right here you can see I'm not adding any seam allowance because we're just going for that tattered cave woman look, so you don't want it to be perfect. And once that's done, you officially have your pattern for the top and the skirt. Next, you want to prep your fabric. So right now I'm just ironing out my fabric and smoothing out all the wrinkles and the lines. You want to make sure that you're taking care of this before you pin your fabric. That way everything is as accurate and as clean as possible. So now you want to take your fabric and fold it in half, and I'm just taking my measuring tape and measuring from the edge to the fold, making sure that it's the same distance from the bottom of the fabric to the top before we lay our pattern down. So now I'm making sure the skirt is on the horizontal or the stretchy grain. So I'm measuring the center fold to the edge of the fabric, the fold. So you want to make sure it's the same measurement from the bottom of the skirt all the way to the top. So as you can see, it was 15 from the bottom to the top, 15 inches. So now once you have that, you want to pin your fabric as best and neat as you can. And this is so important, you guys, because sometimes when you sew something randomly and you put it on, it might not fit correctly because you might have sewn it on the wrong stretch. You want to make sure you cut the fabric on the stretchiest side. So that's what that means when you're measuring the horizontal. And then you just want to cut out the whole piece. I forgot to say that right here I left a bit more fabric on the bottom just because I wanted the skirt to be a little longer. So now I'm taking some tracing paper and a tracing wheel, and I'm just tracing those markings that we made on the pattern paper onto our fabric. And don't worry, because this will wash out once you throw it in the wash. So it won't ruin your fabric. And this is going to help us to line up our pattern pieces perfectly. So it's kind of like a cheat sheet. Once you've finished all of your markings with the tracing wheel, you just want to go ahead and take off your pattern paper, but leave the pattern of the fabric together still. So just be careful when you're taking that off and making sure it doesn't move too much. And then as you can see here, I'm just retracing the other lines onto the other side of the fabric. What I'm doing here is taking some interfacing and I'm tracing the markings of the waistband onto the interfacing with the tracing paper. It'll look like a bunch of red dots with the wheel, and this is going to ensure our waistband to be a bit more sturdy. So as you can see, I cut out one strip, and you want to make 2 of those for both sides of the skirt. Off camera, I just went ahead and ironed on my interfacing. If you guys don't know how to do that, there's plenty of informative videos on YouTube that shows you how to do that. So now I just have my one side pinned together, and you want to go ahead and do a straight stitch all the way down, and I'm doing about 5/8 seam allowance. Once you finish sewing the side, you want to go ahead and serge it. If you don't have a serger like me, you can go ahead and use the zigzag stitch, which works just as good. And you want to just finish off that whole side, and this will ensure that our skirt does not fall apart in the wash. On the opposite side of the skirt, you want to keep it pinned and cut a slit like you see here, just a few inches down. I'm just going to fold this out of the way so you guys can see what I want you to do next. So you're just going to sew from that top to that bottom, just slowing it down from that top to that bottom only. And right here, this is how it looks when you open up the skirt and pin it inwards. So you want to do that on the left and the right fold. So go ahead and just sew all the way down on both sides of the skirt. Now we're going to move on to the waistband. So you want to take the top of the fabric and fold it over that interfacing line, which should be about 5/8. As you can see here, you want to fold it over on the wrong side, pin it, and then sew all the way along that line of the pins. If you guys are still watching, don't forget to follow all of my social media, which will be linked down below in the description box, and you guys can stay active with me on there. I post damn near every day, and feel free to message me if you guys have any questions. Now you guys can see our waistband is nice and structured and really firm. I like it. That's what interfacing is good for. So now all you want to do is add those eyelets and then cut the tatters in your skirt. And this I just really freehanded. I folded the skirt together as best as I could, pinned it, and now I'm just cutting it. But make sure you guys measure where your crotch starts, because you don't want to cut too high up and then it's like coochie cutters. So I just happened to cut it perfectly. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish cutting this. So now we're moving on to the top, you guys. We're almost done. So what I did here was fold over the fabric again. Again, make sure that the pattern is laid out on the bias or the stretch of the grain. Just pinned the fabric to the pattern piece, and I'm just gonna cut the whole piece out. Once you have those pieces cut out, you just want to go ahead and mark those lines onto the fabric. So we're using the tracing paper and the tracing wheel again, and just doing that on the front and the back piece of the top. Again, if you're a beginner in sewing, using tracing paper is really helpful because it just helps to make sure that you're aligning your fabrics exactly and the measurements are the same on both pieces. So as you can see, I have my lines, and now we're going to hem the neckline and the arm line. As you can see, you want to fold over on that line we made, and that way it's exactly the same on both sides. So you're just going to want to pin that, as you can see here, and then sew along the edge. So you want to go ahead and do this to both the top piece and the back piece. And with the neckline, when you're hemming, make sure you're folding it inwards onto the wrong side of the fabric. That way, when you're finished, it'll be perfect on the right side. Once your necklines are sewn, you want to go ahead and take some small scissors and just trim away that excess fabric. That way our neckline lays nice and neat against our skin. If you leave this on, it can leave the neckline looking sloppy. And also the excess fabric will make the neckline and the arm line look bulky if you don't trim it. This is an extra step, but you just want to take your two top pieces and iron over the neckline and the arm line. This is just going to fuse the thread with the fabric and make everything look a lot like neater and smooth. See, as you can see, look how good it's looking. It looks like a shirt, you guys. So now you want to take that top piece of the strap and fold it over. As you can see, I'm taking the iron, as you can see, and this is a little trick that helps you to like keep it in place if it's too finicky for you, depending on the fabric you get. And then you want to take a pin for extra security and just pin that, and then you're going to sew straight along that edge. So that's how it looks on the right side, and this is how it looks on the wrong side. Once you finish the straps, you want to go ahead and sew the sides to finish the shirt. So as you can see, I pinned along the red dotted line. That way we're sewing exactly as the fabric should lay. If you don't match up your sides, the shirt can be sewn unevenly and you might experience like sewing along some lumps or extra fabric. That's why I highly recommend using tracing paper as kind of like a cheat code so you can have everything match up perfectly. So just go ahead and sew straight down on both sides of the shirt, and don't forget to backstitch. If any of that seemed kind of confusing, I'm basically sewing along the red dots that we used with the tracing wheel, and the pin is just holding that together. Once you have your sides sewn together, you want to take some scissors and trim away the excess fabric. So if you guys don't really know how much to trim away, a rule of thumb I always do is to just trim in half. As you can see, it leaves the perfect amount left over. You don't want to cut too much off or your threads can come apart if you like stretch the shirt out a little. And then once you do that, you just want to finish your sides by using the zigzag stitch. And you want to do this on both sides. Now you're going to take that raw edge, as you can see here, and you want to lay it flat like so and sew it flat across, just like that. And this will keep the flap from moving all around crazy, so you just want to do that on both sides, just as an extra step. So now you want to take the eyelets and the leather lace and just feed those through the eyelets on the top, and your shirt is finished. So now, as a bonus, I'm just making the pearl necklace. As you can see, I got these pearls from Joann's. They were on sale, and this plastic string. I am not jewelry maker, you guys. So all I did here was just tie a knot. I measured how long I want it to be, tied a knot, and then I'm gonna take some Gorilla Glue because it doesn't stay in place. So you want to take the super glue or any kind of super glue and just put a dot, as you can see here, and then you want to pull it, and it dries really fast. Just hold it till it dries all the way. And once that's dry, you just want to feed all of the beads through the string. So at the end, I just measured this loop that fit over the knot that we made, and I just tied it together with, and then super glued it so it would stay, and then I'm trimming off these extra pieces that I used to tie it. So that way it just hooks on over to the knot like that, and that's our necklace, you guys. And our outfit is complete. This is how the necklace came out. It was absolutely perfect and super cheap to make. And this is how the top came out. Everything came out exactly how I thought it would. The bottom's curled up even when I ironed it, but it's okay. Like, it goes with the cave woman look. And the strap, you guys, with the twine, bomb. Like, I got that from Joann's along with fabric, and this is the whole outfit. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I spent so much time on this, but also I saved so much money by doing it this way. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.